Hello and welcome to another episode of the Veterans Corner. My name is Chuck Wooden. I'm joined by my co-host, Donna Dunyan. Donna, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's been a
Welcome.
while since we've been here.
Hi.
We have a special guest with us today, a guest that is no stranger to this show. This time he comes back with a very important position, actually. Ron Welch. Welcome. Ron is the commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Veterans Affairs. And you might recognize Ron in the past from Rally Point with Easter Seals. It's an honor to have you here. Ron is a commissioner, is a retired Brigadier General, U.S. Army. We want to thank you very much for your service. We usually ask our guests where they've been and all that, but we'll skip that this time. And we'll just say thank you for your service on behalf of the viewers, on behalf of us here at the Veterans Corner. And once again, congratulations, belated congratulations. You haven't been here since you were appointed commissioner, but it's an honor to have you. It's an honor to have you as our commissioner. I'd speak for the whole veteran community. So thank you and welcome. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. A lot of updates. This, incidentally, is going to be a two-part series. There's very informative. Sit back and enjoy. Where do you want to start? I guess tell us about your new role as commissioner.
Chuck, first I want to thank you and Donna for having me on the show. I always enjoy being here. In this public access forum, I hope that public access TV survives all the challenges that are out there. But it's always a pleasure to be here. And I'm grateful to have been appointed back in June by the governor to serve in this role. It was hard to leave Veterans Rally Point. We made a lot of progress over time. It's a great opportunity now. So in the role that I'm in, what I'd like to do first is do a little bit of a thumbnail of the history of Connecticut Department of Veterans Affairs. So the facility was constructed back in the 1800s during the Civil War. A gentleman named Benjamin Fitch had a lot of resources. He was a merchant, and he knew the Civil War was going to produce a lot of casualties, both service members with significant wounds, physical wounds and mental wounds, back then called shell shock. There were going to be a lot of orphaned children and a lot of widows. Yeah. So he decided to put a lot of money up, and he constructed a large home and hospital, the first one in the United States out in Darien. And that ribbon was cut for that facility on the 4th of July, 1864. So that kind of established the initial facility. And then in the 30s, the General Assembly all got together and said, we need to do something a little bit more in the central part of Connecticut. So they purchased over 100 acres in Rocky Hill, and they started construction in 1935, finished in 1940. And the facility is 92 acres currently, with 39 buildings, 1.5 miles of tunnels, and 2.5 miles of roads.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know about the tunnels.
Oh, yeah, the tunnels. Yeah, the tunnels.
That includes the cemetery across the street.
That's an extra parcel of property.
So what is the mission of the department?
So the mission statement is simple: serving those that have served. To execute, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But, so in Connecticut, it's 172,000 veterans that currently are veterans. But I also think it's a bigger number than that, because we want to also provide services for family members and those that are in the reserve components and those that are on active duty that may require some assistance. Mm-hmm. We have 4 core missions that are part of the program. The first is our residential program, and that has between 150 and 170 bed space available for that number of veterans. We also have a residential, some residential housing across the street for 5 families. I think the point that I want to emphasize with the residential program is it is a program. Yeah. People come there as volunteers, and there are programs and services to help them move forward. It's not just a place to come and just live there for the rest of your life necessarily. It's a place to come and work on whatever issue they may have, whether it's substance abuse or they need a job, employment, could be housing, or it could be all of those things kind of combined together. So that's the first one. The second is our skilled care facility. We can accommodate 125 veteran patients there. Highly rated skilled care facility, nursing facility, named after our very own Medal of Honor winner, John Levito.
Yeah.
So we're really proud of that facility and the care that can be provided there. Very important for our listeners is the Office of Advocacy and Assistance. We have 5 offices around Connecticut. One is in Norwich, out in the east, Milford, Waterbury, Fairfield, and Newington. Those offices are the ones where our veteran service officers are located, and a veteran can go and get assistance filing a claim for pension and compensation and other benefits they may be entitled to. That team this year has done tremendous work. They have supported over 8,000 veterans, which has resulted in $125 million back to the veterans and their families.
That's awesome.
And I know it feels like a long list. And then the last thing is our cemetery memorial services. 3 cemeteries in Connecticut. The one in Darien is at max capacity. The one across the street that you mentioned, Chuck, in Rocky Hill, has approximately 1,600 veterans buried in it. And down in Middletown, I call that our mini Arlington, beautiful cemetery.
Absolutely.
We have approximately 16,000 there.
Yeah. I remember that one when there was nothing out front, no grave sites out front, and even in the front area on the left. Now that's all filled up.
Yeah.
The first time I was involved with Wreaths Across America, I think there was only like 9,000. When I say only, there was about 9,000 compared to the 16 now. So I mean, it's filling up.
We are doing approximately 650 to 700 memorial services there a year.
Wow.
We have a columbarium. Cremation, as you know, is becoming a little bit more popular than it was previously.
Yeah.
So we have the columbarium. That's an option. And then we have cremated remains can also be buried in 4x4 plots, or we can do a traditional burial in a 4x8 plot.
Okay.
I was actually there just recently for my uncle.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's further out in the back area.
Yeah.
Now, is there room to expand? Is there?
I was going to get to that a little bit later.
Okay.
But I'm more than happy to talk about it now. We're in the process. In December, I appeared before the State Bonding Commission, and we had unanimous consent for bonding money, and we received $3 million. So we're in the process right now of procuring more property. Department of Administrative Services is working really hard, and we hope to have some more information to report within the next few months.
Yeah.
All right, good.
But when I was interviewed by the governor, I had heard that this was a big issue, that we were running out of space. And the key thing is you can't purchase a piece of property and stand a cemetery up immediately. Of course, there's all the surveying and the drainage
Zoning.
and the road network and all those kinds of things that, this is a couple-year process to really do this the right way. So I had asked him or had said to him that, I understand it's a huge priority to get this done, and he assured us that he would, we would have his support to move forward.
Good. What are some of the other priorities and things that you're working on?
Very important to us, in addition to the cemetery, is our municipal vet representatives. And Donna's attended our training, and she is one of them. So by state statute, every municipality, all 169 in Connecticut, are supposed to have that person, a vet representative. And they don't have to be a veteran. What they really need is to care about veterans and be able to make connections for veterans. They need to have an idea of what programs and services are available locally. That's really the first thing. That's how we can help out the most veterans, is by knowing what services are available locally. Where is the food pantry? How do I get clothes? Can you help me write a resume? What do I do with this DD 214? How do I file that? And, you know, I want to file a claim. Can you tell me how I would go about doing that? Those kinds of things. If we can get one educated and in place in every municipality, we will do a huge service to our population. It'll also help the civilian population, also reducing the amount of stress that can be placed upon when veterans start to really struggle and have different issues. So if we can make those connections sooner versus later, we're all going to be a lot better off.
Family members also.
Oh yeah, family members, dependent family members, yeah, children. But like you said, it's the being on the front lines, having that representative in the town hall or in a very easily accessible place for the veterans to find them, and not just you don't decide when you're going to have a little moment of crisis. So it's got to be also something that they're accessible throughout the week, not just very limited carved out hours.
Unexpected.
Yeah. So I think I know that's one thing that I discussed with the Veterans Committee when they came to Veteran Strong.
And I know we'll have you again. The next training session is going to be on the 14th of June. It's a Friday, and it'll be on our campus in the Gold Star Memorial Auditorium. Right now we have about 120 that are trained. Some are very competent and capable, and others are just starting out. We did send a letter out to all the chief elected officials a couple months ago asking for their support for this program. So that's
I'm sure there's plenty of support. I know you just in the Bristol area.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not just covering Bristol, you're covering the surrounding communities.
I'm covering the surrounding communities, and it's about 7,000 veterans in the communities I cover. But I have a good rapport with those towns, so we're on the phone constantly with them and going to those towns. So it works out. It's a balancing act, but someone can do it. If you have two small communities, they can definitely go in it together. You think of some of the communities up in the quiet corners of the state. They can do it together.
You know, in the job I'm in now, it really is all about partnerships, local, state, federal, and the commissioners are very supportive of what we're trying to accomplish with the veteran community. So they share a lot of their resources with us, which we really appreciate their support. One example is Department of Labor. We have a grant from Department of Labor to help with veteran employment outreach. So we're trying to put that plan together now to help find veterans that aren't employed. And we know that that is a primary role that Department of Labor has, but we're going to try to help out in that area. Electronic medical records. This is a big challenge. But we have been working, apparently the agency's been working for a few years to modernize the electronic medical records to be able to provide better medical care and better interaction with the other providers that are out there. There are times where our veterans have to go to some of the local hospitals to get a higher level of care than we can provide at the skilled nursing facility. So if we can go ahead and transport that patient kind of seamlessly, and the physician at the arriving facility can quickly look up all their medical history, we can provide, with that partnership, much better care.
How many beds are in West Haven?
Oh, I don't know.
Is that
off the top of my head? But that's federal VA versus.
That's right.
That's the
right.
difference.
That's right.
But
Yes.
even they're working towards electronic. I don't know how far they've come with getting on the same system as civilian doctors and hospitals.
They have a system called My Healthy Vet. So a veteran, if they sign up, can access their information electronically. the challenge is the sharing part of it.
Yeah.
You know, they have to sign the releases, and some of the systems are a little bit more user friendly than others as far as being able to interact with a VA system.
Wow. That's, you know, I didn't even realize that as far as the West Haven Hospital. It's the same thing with Newington, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all federal.
So it's all, the state is on West Street in Rocky Hill.
Mhm.
I should have known those things, but
Well,
slipped through.
there
It's
can be
easy.
confusion out there. I do a lot of different events, and I try to emphasize that the partnership that we have with the federal VA is extremely important. We talk to them every day.
Yeah.
Some of our staffs do, and Don, I know you do a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And other veteran support organizations do a lot of coordination. It really takes everybody that's out there, the whole village, to provide the amount of support that
Teamwork.
really, is required. Absolutely. A big one, and it's underway right now, is our website modernization. You know, the intentions were really good when the Department of Veterans Affairs website was originally created.
Yeah.
And over time, like most websites, if you don't do the maintenance on them, they start to become clunky, and there's so much data on our website right now that it's difficult to navigate. So, you know, the other interesting part of the veteran population in Connecticut, out of that 172,000, over 100,000 are over 60 years old.
Yeah.
So we want, you know, the aging veteran, yeah, I fall into that category also.
Not yet.
We want that aging population to be able to really, for anybody, to be able to simply get on the site and get right to those core missions, those 4 core, with just a click. You know, be able to click on the residential program and see what the residential program is all about and how to apply to come to the facility. The same with the skilled care and the cemetery services. So very important to get that modernized, and we're in the process right now of doing that with another partner called BITS. It's one of the partner agencies that helps us with all of our technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a,
And then the app too. I know for a while the app, I loved the app, but then it seems like COVID, with everything with COVID, it seems like everything just stalled.
Right.
So is that part of the website
Yes.
modernization?
It
Awesome.
will be. And a big thing too that I found, you know, I really felt that it would take me about a year to figure the job out. So I'm getting close to a year, but there's still so much to learn. I do try to represent the organization as much as possible to get out there and participate in things. And, you know, we've done a couple podcasts and radio interviews and the different print interviews that are out there. But most recently, I was really honored on Saturday night to be able to be a keynote speaker out at an event called the Heroes Gala out in Monroe, Connecticut. And it was really in support of Gold Star families, and it's honoring the 65 service members we lost during the global war on terrorism. And Danbury and, you know, that part of the state, I give them a tremendous amount of credit. They are establishing the first monument to honor those global war on terrorism service members. So it's going to be constructed. It is constructed, and there will be a ribbon cutting for it real soon, or groundbreaking ribbon cutting.
we've had them on the show.
So,
out in Denver, yeah.
you know, it was an incredible event. I want to say probably 220 or so attended Saturday evening's event. And it was, I was really taken back to be able to interact. And I was at a table with all Gold Star families. So you get, you know, you get a chance to interact and, you know, to listen to the stories of their loved ones that are no longer with us, and, you know, realizing the sacrifices that their loved ones made, and the pain and suffering that they go through every day, not having their loved ones with us any longer.
If I may, Commissioner, if the viewers out there haven't been to Middletown yet, to the Trees of Honor. There's a beautiful park
It really is.
dedicated to all 65 service members that have made the ultimate sacrifice. There's a tree, and then there's a small little marker with their engraved picture on it. It's really nice. You go in the summertime when the trees are all, foliage is there. It's just a beautiful place just to walk around and reflect and pay your respects to those that have passed. And on the grounds too, you have there's another monument there for the Special Guerrillas Unit, I think it is.
Yes.
Yes.
And the museum.
And the museum is there too.
Yeah.
So it's a place that you can spend the whole day and relax and learn and pay respect.
I was just at the Capitol and walking the tunnel between the Capitol and the Legislative Office building today. They have the pictures on the wall and looking at some of them, and I knew some of them, and there's one young man up there who I knew as a teenager. You guys raised your hands. I knew as a teenager because I worked at the same law firm that his mother was a lawyer at. I was a secretary. And to see his picture and some of the others, it just hits.
Yeah, it grabs you.
It grabs you, it gets you. And so.
And I really want to add to another event that really left a huge impression, and that was yesterday in that very area you're talking about, Donna. Finally, 50 plus years later, recognition to the 614 Vietnam veterans that were lost during the Vietnam War. There are 3 plaques with their names that were dedicated yesterday. One of the American Legion organizations spearheaded that they were out of Madison, and it was, a solemn ceremony yesterday. And ironically, part of my words when I spoke, I talked about when I was in 6th grade in elementary school, 5th or 6th grade, I was 10 years old, like 54 years ago, and one of my closest friends' brother died in South Vietnam. So his name is on one of those plaques.
It's something to see the names that are on there when you can relate to the name.
Yep, absolutely. So there are some work groups and things that you do to help with the networking and to continue the mission of the department. What can you tell everyone about some of those groups that you're involved with?
Sure, just a couple.
We do have only about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
I mean, it went by. We can start touching on that now, and then whatever we don't finish, we can jump in on the second segment for next week.
Yeah, perfect.
Actually, why don't we
Table
table that for the
we'll
next
table that question.
for the next time? The commissioner had mentioned something, and me and Donna are going to touch more on this. Right now, public access, not only here at Nutmeg TV, but statewide, is going through a funding crisis. And it has a lot to do, I mean, funding for public access comes from your cable bills. And a lot of people are no longer, they're discontinuing cable and going streaming, so that's affecting these programs. Now, this program in particular, it's been very valuable to the veteran community since 2013. We encourage our viewers to possibly contact legislators to support funding for programs like this and facilities like this. Nutmeg TV is the largest in the state as far as public access. We would love to have this program continue. We'd love to have all the other favorite programming continue that you watch here on Nutmeg TV. We just want to make sure that we put that out there. It's very important that funding continues. So that was something I had to put out there and say.
Only a phone call.
Yeah.
It can make a difference.
Yeah. So I don't know, Commissioner. It was great to see you. It was great to have you back. You know, it's always a pleasure and very informative. This show with you here is something that was really desperately needed for our veteran community, and just the public community. I mean, the public, I should say, not just the veterans. It's great to see what the Department of Veterans Affairs is doing and what's offered. We have another great show coming up next week, and it's great. It's going to be great to have you back.
All right. Thank you very much, Chuck and Donna. Really appreciate it.
With that being said, I want to thank the viewers for watching, and see you next time in the Veterans Corner. Good night.
Sometimes life just happens. Don't worry. Farmington Motorsports will get you back on the road and at a fair price. From towing to tires, emissions to transmissions.
Our ASC certified techs do it all.
Farmington Motorsports is a family-run business. We're a Napa Auto Center and AAA approved. We work on all makes and models from preventative maintenance to major repairs.
And every repair is backed by our 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty.
When life happens to you, don't worry. Farmington Motorsports.
Follow us on Instagram at nutmeg.tv.